Hi everybody, so I was reviewing the videos that I've done about the Valve Steam Deck and the ASUS Rog Ally recently, and I was thinking, have I really done a comparison on these two machines at basic level? So if you're in the market for a handheld gaming PC, you know, and you're kind of new to the subject, what is really the difference between these machines? Because on the face of it, they look pretty similar, don't they? And often you can find them for very similar prices as well. You know, as a matter of fact, you know, this model here, this is my 512GB Steam Deck OLED model that I got just before Christmas 2023, so a few months ago. And this is an ASUS Rog Ally non-extreme version that ASUS UK have been kind enough to lend me for a few weeks to kind of check out. So I've had plenty of experience with both devices now. And so the idea of this video is just to kind of explain, you know, the core differences between these devices to kind of start you on your journey of trying to decide which one will be best for you. And I think it's important to start with the most important difference between the two. And probably the one that is often probably the most misunderstood as well is the operating systems that these two devices use. So the Steam Deck by Valve, who owns Steam, and if you're new to PC gaming, Steam is a storefront for selling PC games. It's the biggest one. If you're going to buy a game on PC, you're probably going to buy it from the Steam store. There are other stores out there as well, but Steam is the biggest one. And Valve, who own Steam, have been trying for years and years to get into the hardware market. They made things called Steam machines years ago, which were basically the idea that they were PCs that would run games. They've made a controller called the Steam controller, I think it was called. And then finally, they've had their massive success with the Steam Deck. But what they've done is that the operating system, the software that runs this device, is a custom piece of software called Steam OS. And Steam OS runs on Linux. So basically, it's a Linux machine. So you all know about Windows machines. You know, the PCs that you use at work or school or college are probably Windows machines. So they're kind of the background software that runs all the other programs is Windows, whereas with the Steam Deck, it's Linux. It's Steam OS. What that means is you can have a custom operating system for this device that is purely tailored to get the best performance out of this device to make it run games the best it can, which is marvelous, which means that the custom chip that is inside this thing, SteamOS, can work with that and make sure that you get the maximum performance out of that, so you can have a smooth console-like gaming experience. And that's what the Steam Deck really is. It's a console-like experience when you go into it. Sure, you can go into a desktop mode, but I'm not going to go into that in this video. Its strength is the fact that it's very, very smooth, very, very reliable, and it's based on SteamOS. The catch with that, though, is the fact that it can't run all video games, because some video games aren't compatible with Linux. Some video games aren't compatible with SteamOS, and generally that compatibility revolves around the anti-cheat software that uses. So, for example, games like PUBG, Call of Duty, Fortnite, Destiny won't run natively on a Steam Deck, which could be a problem for people if you're looking to play those particular games. So you need to keep that in mind. A big plus, though, that you get with the Steam Deck is the fact that it has amazing battery life as well. Again, and a lot of this is all related to the fact that the operating system that runs this device, SteamOS, is really, you know, it only runs the Steam Decks, you know, at the moment. It may well run other devices in the future, but it means that Valve can really fine-tune the way that this device runs at a operating system level, which is why you get such great performance out of it. Now, let's talk about the Rog Allies. Now, the Rog Ally, this is basically a Windows PC, as you can see, that has controllers attached to it, and has the the Z1 or the Z1 chip. In this case, it's a non-extreme version, which means that this device will play any game that will run on a Windows PC, because this is a Windows 11 PC. So as you can see here, is I've got the Steam launcher there for all my Steam games. We've got the Xbox launcher, so I can have my Game Pass games. We've got GOG Galaxy, we've got Epic, we've got Rockstar Games, all that sort of stuff. Now, you can get some of these launchers working on the Steam Deck. It's not particularly simple, but you can't get Xbox Game Pass games working natively on Steam OS. You have to stream them through, which isn't as good an experience. But with the Rog Ally, you can, because it's just like your laptop. It's just like your computer. It just has to be much, much smaller, and it has the controls kind of built in. The catch with that, though, is the fact that Windows, and Windows 11 in this particular case, is nowhere near optimized for running on a small portable gaming device that runs off a battery. So what that means is you have generally much poorer battery life out of Windows 11 and the Rog Ally compared to the Steam Deck. And although games may well have a higher frames per second, and sometimes even a higher average frames per second as well, the Steam Deck can often feel smoother because you don't get the big drops in frame rate in the same way that you would do with a Rog Ally. Other big changes between these two devices as well is this is the OLED version, so this has a HDR OLED screen, which means that the Steam Deck has very, very bright brights and very, very dark darks if the game supports HDR. If it doesn't, it's still very good as well. However, I would say that the Rog Ally's variable refresh rate LCD screen is exceptional, because having a variable refresh rate screen means that as the game is running at like 34 frames a second, 62 frames a second, 52 frames a second, as it's going up and down as you go through busier and not so busier area, the screen refresh rate matches that. So games often can seem smoother on the Rog Ally than they do on the Steam Deck, even though maybe the Steam Deck is running at a higher FPS. And that might sound a bit counterintuitive, but you've really got to see one to have a go. They have similar sized screens, but the Steam Deck, because it's a 16 by 10 screen, seems bigger. Well, it is physically bigger as well. And the overall build quality between the two is very, very good. And the thing I would say with both of these devices, as someone who is in their middle age, who started off with game consoles pre-personal computer. The first personal computer I got to play on was something like an Apple II back in 1982. The fact that we can have these devices that run the games they do is absolutely magical. And for me, I would be more than happy with either of these devices. I think they're both amazing. The way that I advise people about which one to buy is that I kind of say, look, if you've already got a gaming computer with a mature Steam library, then perhaps I think the Steam Deck is more for you, because if you've already got a Steam library, you've already got a gaming PC, anything that you want to play that won't play on the Steam Deck, you can play on your gaming PC or your gaming laptop, so that's not an issue. And then you'll have this amazing device with really long battery life that really is tailored really to be all around the Steam store and games that run on Steam. If, however, you don't have a gaming PC already and don't have a mature Steam gaming library, then I think if you can pick up a Rog Ally for a bargain price, so where it is cheaper than the equivalent Steam Deck, then I think you should consider maybe a Rog Ally. You do have to bear in mind that the battery life isn't as good, but you are getting a Windows 11 PC, so that you can plug it into a monitor. I mean, you can plug the Steam Deck in a monitor as well, but you plug it into a monitor and you can do everything that you could do on a Windows PC. You can browse the web, you can use Microsoft Word, you can do anything that a Windows 11 PC can do. You just plug it into a dock, plug in a keyboard, plug in a mouse, and just use it like a PC that way. I think one of the biggest bargains that has been around recently is the Best Buy in America were doing the non-extreme version of the Ally, this one, for $300, and that is a bargain for something like this. Sure, you run this at 720p rather than native 1080. The Steam Deck runs at 800p, by the way, but the screen looks very, very good, and the performance you get is very, very good as well. As far as memory goes, they're both 16 gigabytes of kind of combined, I guess it's combined graphical memory and CPU memory. They both got the same storage in this case, 512 gigabytes, and that's a 512 gigabyte Steam Deck. They both weigh about the same. I guess the Steam Deck's slightly bigger than the Rog Ally, not that you would notice. And once you're in the games, once you're actually playing the games, you know, obviously you don't really notice that much difference at all. You could argue that the thumbsticks on the Rog Ally are a little bit lighter than on the Steam Deck, but things like the buttons are very, very similar, and all that sort of stuff. So there we go. That's kind of a basic introduction guide to the difference between the two. If there are games that you simply must play on your portable device, and if they do include games like Call of Duty, PUBG, Fortnite, Destiny, then obviously the Ally is going to be, you know, the machine that you're going to be watching a lot more videos about to kind of learn about. And if not, maybe something like the Steam Deck to go that way. But both machines are really, really good. I'm very, very pleased with both, and I think it's absolutely magical that we have both of these around as options to buy anyway. So that's enough from me. Hopefully you found this video useful. If you have, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe, and of course I'll see you again soon.